Welcome to all the classic car enthusiasts. Give me a second. I'll cigarette down. So, the answers to the last question, I think it was, or the last three questions. There's going to be two winners, but I'll give you the answers first. The first one is I asked why is it that Y wheel, the spinners on Y wheels knock on or tighten going backwards rather than going forwards, as you would think, because the car's going forward most of the time. And most people, I've got very few answers to this, and now whether the people don't like technical questions or not, I don't know. So the next one, the one I'm going to do tonight is basically a trivia question, but you still need to do some research. Anyway, so the first of the questions is the Y wheels. It's basically because of the inertia of the wheels going forward, but the acceleration, the G-force from the acceleration is tiny in comparison to the braking forces. The braking forces are massive compared to the acceleration forces, and when the car brakes, they're actually tightening. And guys gave me some really long explanations, which is true. The threads are slightly different, and they do tighten themselves up, but they're tightening under braking, not acceleration. So that's the reason that they're done. There are some cars that are not like that, but they have different types of Y wheels and locks in them and so on. The second one was the firing order. In a Jaguar, in all XK engines, the one against the bulkhead is number one. In most cars, number one cylinder is right next to the radiator at the front of the car, but in XKs they're at the back. So number one, so one starts at the front and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The third one was, what was the third one now? Oh God. The third one was, God, I forgot what it was. What was the third one? The brakes, yes. Which was the first production car to have disc brakes all the way round? And I didn't actually know this. The answer I was actually looking for was more of a mass-produced car, but production, when you look at Wikipedia or any of these things, mass production, there is no number to it. So this is why I've given two guys the shirts tonight, because both of them were correct. One guy put down that the C-Type was the first production car to have, which won Le Mans. Was the first production car to have it. Now there was only 54 cars made, I believe, and 44 of them were sold to the general public. So it is a production run, a tiny one, but it is a production run. The actual answer I was looking for, but it's still good, and it's still the right answer, was the XK. The XK150 was the very first volume production vehicle that had, for Jaguar, that had disc brakes all round. The 140s had them on the front, but the drums on the back. So that was the answer I was looking for. So the two winners are Malcolm Donovan from Lincolnshire, which is quite handy because Martin Butler, that does the shirts for me, he lives in Lincolnshire, so I won't be far to send it. And he had the C-Type, which is correct. And the other one is David Brown, who lives in Prague, and he had all the three answers I was looking for. It was the XK150, but they're both right. So I'll get the sizes sent to Martin, and they'll be on their way to you. So well done Malcolm, and well done David. With a name like David Brown, you should have an Aston Martin, I suppose. I know he's got a Jaguar Mark II, I believe. Anyway, so tonight's question, a bit of trivia because you seem to like it. Now, the Henry Ford Motor Company, there's a lot of trivia about Henry Ford, but this is, what I'm looking for tonight is the name of the man who I'm going to tell a quick story. Henry Ford started doing the Model T Ford and producing the Model T Ford cars. And he's accredited with starting a production line, which is not true. The production lines were going in other things like foods and stuff long before his. Anyway, he had a massive generator that ran the plant. This is actually true. There's a lot of stories about Ford, but this one is actually true. And he had this massive generator, and he had some engineers looking after it, and they'd had problems with this generator failing or not working properly and so on and so on. They could not find the problem. So they brought a man in from GEC, General Electric Company, and this guy was actually a professor, a very, very well educated guy. He was a scientist, he was a mathematician. His friends included Einstein, Edison, and even Tesla. So he was in pretty good company. And this guy was he was 4 foot high, had a humpback, and obviously his body was a bit contorted. But this guy, the mind of this guy was brilliant. Anyway, they had the problem in Ford's factory with this generator running all the power. It's costing them a fortune because it wasn't working correctly. So they brought him in, and he came into the factory, and he stayed by the generator for 2 days and 2 nights. The only things he asked for was a pencil, a notebook, and a cot, or somewhere to sleep, a bed, a camp bed, whatever. So he sat by this generator, checking the vibrations and the noises and so on. And on the second night, he asked the engineers to get him a ladder. He got a small ladder. He went up to the side of the generator where there was a plate on the side of it, and he put a chalk mark on it. Now the story goes, the story's been told many times in pubs, that the guy charged them, or GEC charged them $10,000, which was a small fortune in those days. And Henry Ford was a bit annoyed about it, and he wanted an itemised bill. So the bill that was sent by this gentleman, whose name I want, said on the itemised bill, it was $10,000, and it was $1 for the chalk mark, and $9,999 for knowing where to put this mark. Now the normal story you'll hear this is that the guy hit it with a hammer and started work. This is not true. What actually happened was he told the engineers he needed to put 16 more coils or copper wire on the main coil. I just checked that that's correct. On the 16 more field windings on the main coil. They did it, and the generator worked perfectly, absolutely perfect, and went on and on. And so this is the story. $10,000 bill, $1 for the chalk mark, $9,999 for knowing where to look or find the problem. So what I want from you is the name of the person, or the name of the man that did this particular job. You can find it on Wikipedia, or you can find it anywhere. Okay? So that's it for tonight. So I'm just going to quickly show you what I've been up to today. If this camera is still running, yes it is. We're okay. So you can see I've been working on this XK of mine, and you can see now we started to, how well that looks. This is I had to cut this back a bit. Amir had done it, and he made a really cracking job, but it was out a bit more tapered out here, so I had to kind of go in a bit because that's the way it shows on the picture. And you can see here, this is still not bolted on. I'll show you in a second. You can see the gap's a little bit bigger there. But I've got to, this one is too much. I've got to put this one on this side. I've got to open it up a little bit. But this will come out a bit more when it's bolted to this. But as you can see, it's all the way round. It's not finished yet, obviously, but it's getting there. So and if I take that off, I can show you. Let me put this down, because so it's a very expensive piece of equipment. So you can see there. Now it's back to the lead, but you can see how it's only just, really, you can see there's still lots of lead coming through. So it's all been built in lead, and this is just a final touch off of filler on it. You know, you have to use filler, but in very small amounts. You shouldn't be putting lots of filler. And you can see there, when I push that back, that lines up perfectly there. But you can see here it's touching, so I have to take this down a little bit. And that's how it looks from the front. I'll just put this light on, might give you a little better. You can see there, maybe that's too much light, is it? I don't know. Maybe down there might be better. You can see there how it's coming on there, the front. A little bit of a dent in here which I have to sort out, but you can see. And then these are the new plinths that go on it, and they basically sit like that, and you can see that's how they would look, and they're just at the right, and both of them are correct on either side, but I have to get them lined up. And you can see there's a pretty good gap down there, and it's the same on the other side, but there's a piece of rubber goes in between them like it does on the rear quarter panels. Anyway, thanks for watching.